Hey there. So I wanted to start doing some training videos on my YouTube, specifically pertaining to growing a successful Beachbody coaching business, which is what I do for a living and what I've been doing for a living for going on 7 years. So I'm in this new chapter of my life where things are different because I'm currently 30 weeks pregnant. So I've had the amazing journey of learning how to grow my business all over again this year. As you can imagine, when you're not pregnant and you're growing your business, as long as you're being proof the product works and you're working on yourself and you're doing what your coach teaches you to do, you should be able to find a lot of success with this business. I find that the people who do not find success in this business are typically, they don't follow directions as good as some other people. And I'm a good example of that because I think that the reason why I struggled so much my first year was because I simply was just not teachable enough. So if you're not pregnant, but you are a new coach and you stumbled upon this video, the biggest advice I have for you is to just trust. Trust that your coach wants you to be successful or your upline coach wants you to be successful, and they are teaching you exactly what they have done to be successful. And that's all they know how to do is what they've done to be successful. So that's what they're going to teach you. And for me, I started to find success in my business when I started to just sit down, shut up, and listen to what my coach was saying and just do what they were saying to do. Instead of just tweaking things and doing things the way I wanted to do them, I had to be willing to be teachable that first couple years until I learned the skills, and then I could go and put my own unique twists on things. So that being said, I have had a really unique experience of being a full-time coach for 7 years with my husband. We're travelers. We travel every month. This business has given us the ability to travel and live all over the United States on an island. And we decided that we wanted to start a family last year. And I don't know how many of you actually have the same experience as me because there aren't very many coaches that I know of that have been in this business for as long as I have who didn't have kids and then started to have kids. But there are a few, and in my experience, it has been incredibly humbling because I was under the expectation, which is my fault, because expectations always lead to disappointment. I was under the expectation that people would be really inspired to see my pregnancy journey. And I have had a lot of engagement with my pregnancy journey, but I also have seen a lot of resistance with it too, because my brand that I built over the last 7 years has been this wandering, free-spirited kind of just do whatever I want kind of person to now I am a homeowner, we're remodeling, I'm nesting, I'm pregnant. I don't have an ocean view house on a cliff anymore. It's not as extravagant looking to people. It's more, your everyday kind of person, which I have realized that a lot of people followed me for that kind of a lifestyle, which I still live. It's just, I'm just getting a little bit more professional, and with I want to say professional, but just getting a little bit more adulty. I don't even know the word to it, but right now my priorities are to start investing, put as much money as away for my family, just like smart business things. And it's not as extravagant as, what people would see normally on my Instagram. So I have definitely had to maneuver around a lot of these kinds of changes and obstacles and disappointments and, that people have had in the change in my brand. And it's just going to continue to change as I become a new mom and then, as our life continues to evolve, it's not going to stay the same. So I wanted to come on here and just kind of give some tips if you're pregnant. I just wanted to say that it is possible to grow your business when you're pregnant. You know, I'm still in the top 10 of Beachbody. I'm going on my 6th year being in the top 10. I still hit Success Club 100 or more every single month. I think there's been 2 months this year that I've hit like 80 instead of 100. I'm still rocking my fitness. I'm still, you know, traveling every month. It's just looks a little different. And will continue to look a little different. And I'm assuming that if you're watching this, you're either considering having kids and want to be a successful Beachbody coach, or you are currently pregnant and feeling stuck, or maybe you're in your postpartum journey and you were just trying to get a little bit of information. And so I'm just going to give you guys a couple of tips to help you to maybe think out of the box when it comes to your social media and your business, because obviously, you know, when you're pregnant and part of your vital behaviors is to be proof the product works, it's a little harder because your body is getting bigger and you are also fighting against this thing that's growing inside you that wants to do one thing and you want to do another. So if you've never been pregnant before, you can sympathize with the fact that, like, when you're pregnant, there's a lot of aches and pains. There's a lot of stretching and changing in your body, exhaustion, nausea. Some people are on bed rest. Some people can be more active. Every single pregnancy is different. But the thing is that everybody's life is different. And that is what the beauty of a business by design and a life by design is that you have the ability to mold a home business around your life. And I think the second that you make that connection and you're realizing that, okay, I can't really look to anybody else to teach me how to do this business, pregnant or not, I need to figure out how to make it work for me. So the number one tip I want to give you is to really focus on your journey being pregnant and trying to be healthy and fit. It's not about being the perfect, you know, fit pregnant person, or, you know, I know for me, like, I felt like I was letting people down because I didn't have abs anymore, you know, and I felt like I had to live up to this expectation after I got pregnant of being super fit throughout my pregnancy. And that was all in my head. That's not true. Nobody wanted that. Nobody cared about that. People are actually more happy, I think, when I'm not that way, you know, because they're like, oh, thank God her pregnancy isn't perfect. And so that's what I really want to point out, is that it's not about being perfect. It's not about having the perfect pregnancy, but it is about sharing what's going on with your pregnancy. And as you try to push play every day and you try to, inspire people and help people, and you do show up when you can. And I think that's really what it's all about, especially with, you know, when your body is growing and changing this way. It's more just about like the prenatal journey, you know. So that's the first tip I want you to write down, is that, you know, focus on the journey, because your story is so much more powerful than you have any idea. And so if every single day you're telling a story about your body, you're talking a story about your eating, you're telling a story about, you know, what you overcame today, your ups, your downs, maybe you have another kid and this is your second pregnancy, and like what that's like with the new baby coming and transitioning. You know, I think that a lot of times people are very literal and black and white when it comes to this business, and you need to focus on the gray scale. So if you're ever been to art school, the gray scale is basically a scale of white to black, and there's all these different variations of gray in between. And what I have always focused on in my life, instead of the white and the black, is all of the gray area. The area that a lot of people don't cover, because a lot of people, especially in my line of work, are very analytical and type A. I really feel that if the more creative we are with our business and with our story and with relating to people and being vulnerable, the more successful we are, and the more successful we become, and the more fun we have, which is my main driver in life, is fun and creativity and freedom. And I love that about this job, which is why I started doing this job, because I realized that they broke the mold with me. And maybe they broke the mold with you too. And I just never fit in any other area of my life except for being an entrepreneur and doing things opposite that everybody else did. I've always been like an opposite type of girl. So I really wanted to just make that, your tip number one is that, your story is what you can focus on. And that can be anything from the way you're feeling to the way you're, to just like everything, you guys, brainstorm like you would in grade school. Sit down and brainstorm all the different things that you're experiencing in pregnancy. And what's really cool is with pregnancy, you can update. And here's onto the second tip, update a lot. I know for me personally, I love seeing people's pregnant bellies. I always get so disappointed when people are like, oh, by the way, I'm pregnant, and it's like third trimester, and it's like, wait, but what about what about your entire pregnancy? Like, I feel gypped. Where is the story? Like, where is the buildup? I feel like there's also a lack of information out there and a lack of, unfilteredness when it comes to pregnancy. I know for me, I found myself not knowing nearly as much about pregnancy as I felt that I should have. And I kind of felt a little disappointed in my peers for not sharing more about what happens to your body while you're pregnant. So I took it upon myself to be that unfiltered person who shares about the, everything, the discharge, I haven't had constipation issues, but a lot of people do. And really asking a lot of questions, asking a lot of questions, trying to get educated and educating. So asking questions, giving it back to people. I think that for tip number two is just really, sharing openly and unapologetically what's going on. Your nipples are getting bigger and darker, like your boobs are growing super big, your belly, maybe you have stretch marks, what is going on? Like, there's so much stuff that like a lot of people who aren't pregnant are like, that is so interesting. And I feel like I have done a really great job of helping people not be so afraid of pregnancy, which a lot of people really are. The hashtag Inspire Pregnancy I love because I want more people to experience this. And I have the same attitude with pregnancy that I have with Beachbody. The reason why I share so unapologetically about my Beachbody lifestyle is because I want everybody to do it. And now that I'm pregnant, and I'm bringing a life into the world, all I can think of is like, why didn't I do this sooner? Well, I know why I didn't. I wanted to travel. And I'm really glad I did that first. But because now I can travel with the baby and I never have to think like, oh, what if this would have been like without a baby? So I did sow a lot of my wild oats my first couple of years of coaching and traveled and did all that fun stuff until it was just traveling. And then it wasn't that fun anymore. And I needed more meaning and more purpose to my life. And that's why I decided to bring a kid into the world because I want somebody to share this with. So for me, it's about like trying to like, kind of open up the curtains and open the doors or whatever, look behind the curtain or whatever of what's actually going on and helping people to see that it's not so bad. It's not so scary. And it's, if I can do it, you can do it too. And it's just exactly how I feel about Beachbody. So, so that brings me to my third tip. And that is, if you have a previous transformation that you had with Beachbody, keep resharing it and using it to invite, because a lot of times on social media, people start following you while you're in the middle of your journey and they don't see where you've come. They don't see where you've come from. So this is if you already were doing Beachbody before you conceived and you have a really great transformation, don't be afraid to repost that transformation every single week and remind people like, hey, I'm doing a challenge group. I'm doing a wellness group. I'm starting a new test group. These are my results before I got pregnant. And because people will, see that like you were in great shape or you had a great transformation or you got healthy before your pregnancy. And I think that's a really great example to set for people. And also, don't be afraid to tell stories and share transformations from other people, from the people you're coaching, from your teams, from people in the test groups. Like, for example, when there's a launch of a new program, there's the test group participants. Those transformation photos are for everybody to share for the most part. So don't think that you always need to focus on your story either. there's something so powerful about sharing other people's stories too, because not everybody's going to relate to where you are in your life. Not everybody's going to relate to you being pregnant or not being pregnant or your body type or how tall you are. I know for me, I look to women who have the same height and build as I do for inspiration because I can relate more to their body. For example, as a coach on my team who has an incredible postpartum transformation with the programs, and she's 5'9" too. So every time I see her body, I'm like, oh, there's hope, you know? So I think it's really important to remember that, you know, while you're sharing your pregnancy journey, also share other people's stories at least 2 to 3 times a week and invite them to come in and to join and let them know that, like, you know, one of the things that I've been saying is, like, when your coach is pregnant and she's pushing play, you have no excuses not to push play. And there's something so motivating about the fact that, like, you can't make excuses when somebody who's 30 weeks pregnant is working out and eating healthy. Like, and that's what we do as coaches. There's a lot of stuff on the internet of very confused people who don't know what a Beachbody coach is. They have all these assumptions and, you know, things that they think a coach is. But what we really do as coaches is we are just another tool in the tool shed that you get with your challenge pack that helps you to be accountable. It's that human experience that's showing up every day and being like, look, dude, if I'm doing it with kids, work, pregnancy, blah, whatever, you can too. And we're just kind of like these facilitators that facilitate these communities. And so just remember that it's about building a community. It's about sharing other people's stories as well, because not everybody's going to resonate with your story. And this applies whether you're pregnant or not. And I think it's just really important to, you know, do a lot of throwback Thursdays from before and continue telling your story about how it was before you found Beachbody and how amazing. Maybe you had a pregnancy prior to this and it was like a really shitty pregnancy because you didn't have Beachbody. There's so many people who see my journey with Beachbody, who are already coaches, that are like, damn, I wish I had Beachbody when I was pregnant because you are crushing it. I didn't work out. I gained 60 pounds. My postpartum journey was so hard. I didn't have Shakeology. And honestly, if I didn't have Shakeology, I would have probably gained so much more weight or maybe even had like a malnourished child because my first trimester, I couldn't eat anything but carbs, and Shakeology was like these dense superfood nutrients that I was giving my body and my baby, which helped me to keep working out and helped with the nausea. So, you know, there's a lot of people. So if you're going to share, you know, that's a really great, you know, thing to share, like show how you looked before, you know, that in the pregnancy before you had Beachbody and the difference between the two. I mean, there's so many people who have that story of like, damn, I wish I had this community. I wish I had these easy programs I could do from home, you know, between the crotch sweat and the discharge and your belly and having to pee every 10 seconds, going to a gym would not happen if I didn't. And so having my home workouts is so nice because I gotta pee, I pause, I go pee, I come back and I press play again, and I have all my liquids and I have all my comfort of my home, and I don't have to worry about all the excessive sweat going on because I'm pregnant. It's so nice to not have to worry about all of that. See, I just shared something that I would have shared on my social media with you. So it's a good example. So I just wanted to come on here because I know that once I'm not pregnant anymore, I'm going to completely forget what it's like to be pregnant. So I wanted to come on here and just give a little training on my top 3 tips for working your business pregnant as a Beachbody coach. And if you have any questions, post them below and I'd be happy to do a follow-up video. Thanks for watching. Bye.